Time now for our press review. Well, Diptyque Laurent has been scouring the online reactions to midterm elections this Wednesday. Let's start, Diptyque, with reactions to the Democrats actually taking the House of Representatives.
Well, the Swiss cartoonist Patrick Chapat has actually been providing his illustrated commentary all this Wednesday as the election results come through. Donald Trump may have to contend with more than just a caravan of migrants, but a caravan of Democrats set to storm the White House, at least the House of Representatives now. That's at least according to this cartoon. Now, Politico has been looking at, has sort of been pushing the story forward, looking at what can be done now that the Congress is so divided. They're looking at ways in which the Democrats and Republicans may work together. There is a lot on the line for the Democrats. They don't want to appear vindictive and block Donald Trump on every issue going forward now, which would not bode well if they're looking forward to their presidential elections in 2020. If, though, the Democrats were hoping that this win would help put a check on Donald Trump, well, they're sorely mistaken, at least according to the editors of the Wall Street Journal. They're saying there that no one is going to rein in Donald J. Trump except Donald J. Trump, and only if he wants to. And it's really proven in the past that he only shows restraint when there's political interest. Rather, they say what's at stake and what should be the primordial concern now is who's going to control policy in the House and how.
All right, Diptyque. Well, when it comes to the Conservative press, what kind of reactions have you been seeing?
Well, we've been looking at Fox News, who conceded begrudgingly earlier this Wednesday the Democrats' win in the House of Representatives, although they do deny that there was any kind of blue tsunami taking over American politics. While the conservative magazine National Review, they've been looking at ahead to what these preliminary results might mean for policymaking. You've got Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi, who's expected to prioritize things like gun control and anti-corruption legislation. Donald Trump is also expected to be in the eye of the Democratic storm, so to speak, with investigations into obstruction of justice. And the Democrats could possibly threaten Donald Trump with subpoenas to force him to comply.
Right, Diptyque. Well, what's been really interesting about these midterms has been the focus on diversity and also on women.
That's right. Let's go back to another Chapat cartoon from earlier this Wednesday. The age-old slogan, "We can do it." You might even say we have done it, because indeed women have been elected to, overwhelming number of women have been elected to office. But it's not just the candidates that have been female voters, female fundraisers. There's been a real push by women who have been turned off by Donald Trump's policies and offended, I guess, by some, offended by his comments. You have, for instance, you have Rashida Tlaib, the daughter of Palestinian immigrants, who won her race for Michigan's 13th congressional district. The other woman is Ilhan Omar. She's now the first Somali-American Muslim elected to Minnesota's 5th congressional district. She actually braved Islamophobic attacks. She had one of her campaign's gate crashed by a far-right activist and had accusations of being linked to terrorists thrown at her, but she's managed to survive. Both women have survived this to become the first Muslim women to enter the U.S. Congress. Hispanic women as well, with they got a boost with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who's now the youngest member of Congress. You also have Ayanna Pressley. She's actually the first black member for Massachusetts in the House of Representatives. And there's also been Native American representation with Deb Haaland's win in New Mexico, focusing on the environment. You've got Sharice Davids, for instance, another Native American candidate. And finally, Jared Polis, the first openly gay governor in America, winning his race in Colorado.
Okay, so a real movement of change happening with these US midterm. When it comes to Beto O'Rourke, he, of course, lost to Ted Cruz in Texas. It's given the Democrats, though, some hope of perhaps finding a candidate in 2020, Diptyque.
Perhaps in spite of his loss, because he really stood out in that race. He lost a tough Republican state to Ted Cruz. It should have been easy for Ted Cruz, a Republican, and he made it pretty hard. Now, Beto O'Rourke, according to the Mirror, has a pretty colorful character, a fourth-generation Irish American. He's a former punk rocker turned congressman, with some saying that he's also got Kennedy-esque qualities. His strength really lying in his ability to raise money. According to the Mirror, he smashed an 18-year-old record in terms of fundraising, raising over $60 million during his campaign. Not a surprise, then, that on Twitter there is a hashtag Beto for President. This user saying, "You got half of Texas to vote for you. Can't be too hard to get the rest of the country."
It's fair enough. All right, Dipti. Now, there were also some, speaking of punk rockers turning to politics, there were some unusual candidates who equally won their respective races.
Indeed, in particular, we've been looking at the Republican candidate Denver Riggleman. Now, he won his House seat in Virginia, defeating the Democrat Leslie Cockburn. It was, in the words of Huffington Post, one of the strangest and closest races of the midterms, with Leslie Cockburn accusing Riggleman of campaigning with a white supremacist and of being a devotee of Bigfoot erotica. In fact, Riggleman has published 2 books on Bigfoot erotica, including one on Bigfoot's mating habits and the other one about why women desire him. I said this was a very unusual candidate. Well, he says, for his part, that the books were just parodies.
Okay, that's good to know. All right, thank you very much, Dipti, for our roundup of all the papers. Of course, to our viewers, if you do want to see more, you know where to go. You can log on to our website at france24.com. We're going to take a short break. Live from Paris does continue on the other side. We'll have more international headlines for you. Stay tuned. You're watching France 24.